welcome back to another video for the Nerdy Suburban Farmer. It's been a while, but I have had some surgeries and I should be getting back on a regular schedule. But I'm starting off this video with a walk through what the trellis looks like, the arch trellis with the butternut squash on it. With this trellis, the acorn and butternut have pretty much taken over the trellis, even though there are cantaloupe and kajari still, which will be coming up shortly. The butternut and acorn have just flourished, so here I am showing some of those that are on here. I believe I have about 10 acorn squash. And there's a little bee. Couldn't get them in focus. But I have about 10 acorn squash and about 7 butternut growing, along with about 5 kajari, which I am showing here. And I've moved to the outside just to give a view of the outside. A lot of the butternut are sitting on the outside of the trellis. But as I said, everything is very green, very lush, very healthy. And this is the other side, showing my one and only cantaloupe. I planted 2, but only got 1. Over here are my turmeric plants, which are kind of a test today. And I've got some more strawberry plants here. I pulled the marigolds out because they were crushing the plants. Just strawberries here. Next up in this bed, I removed just about everything. So I planted some additional cucumber plants, which are not taking off too good, but hopefully they'll bear some fruit. I replanted tiger and royal golden, and they're kind of struggling too. Back over here, I have my sweet potato plants. I cut these back with a weed whacker. That's why they're not flowing all over the place, because the vines were all in the walkway. But the plants themselves are looking pretty good. Next are the Tabasco plants, which have tons and tons of lime green fruit. They're slowly making their way to being orange and red. Once they do ripen up, I will be making a lot of sauce with these. This mint has been amazing. I've cut it back at least 5 times, and it is indestructible. Now, what is destructible has been this lemon cucumber. Even though I did harvest a lot of fruit, it is green and sickly looking, as well as the sugar baby plant, which still has 4 watermelon. I think within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have to harvest everything and pull these plants out, sadly. Not sure what happened exactly with these. And Cameraman Dave is harvesting from the sweet pepper batch. Picking up some of the shishito, which did really well, even though the plant has fallen over. But this has a lot of fruit, as well as the plant next to it have a lot of fruit that are beginning to ripen. And then he's moved over to the Tangerine Dream, which also has a lot of fruit, but many of the fruit are still green. And if you notice, Tangerine Dream looks a lot like large jalapenos. The way to know if you mix them up when you plant is that the jalapeno fruit will grow downwards and the Tangerine Dream will grow upwards. That way you can harvest your jalapenos when you want, knowing you've got a spicy pepper versus a sweet. Moving over to the bell peppers, which it has been so hard not to pick these. I have picked a few, but I really wanted to see that yellow color for the Sunbright, but I do have quite a few peppers in here, so they're doing really good too. this green squash I planted specifically to give to the chickens. I've gotten about 4 zucchini off of it, but here's a large one ready to be harvested that's hiding underneath some greenery here. And once again, got cameraman Dave to the rescue to come in and harvest. I also need to cut back some of the leaves, but this squash has 2 distinct growing sections, so I get to harvest double the amount from the same plant. And in the middle of the plant, I also covered it in dirt to try to help with the vine borers to give it some additional root support. And in the hot pepper bed, these are some of the sweet cherry that have come to ripen. Try to wait until they are completely bright red before harvesting. It does take them quite a while. Moving over to some of the cushaw that are on the ground. I have 5 still on the ground. I've harvested 2. And some of my orange pumpkins. I have 3 that are orange on the vine and 2 that are green. Not quite sure why. And here I'm showing the second cushaw, and then behind that cushaw is where 2 of the green pumpkin sit. They kind of popped up on me. I didn't even notice them at first. But again, I don't know the difference between why I have 2 that are green and 3 that are orange. And here's a third cushaw which decided to grow within the nasturtium. And over here, I've got my second tomato bed where cameraman Dave is again harvesting stuff for me. If you don't have one of these kangaroo apron, I would definitely recommend it. Allows you to harvest a ton of fruit and still leaves your hands free, and you don't have to worry about carrying a bucket. But some of my tomatoes look good, like this one over here. And some of my tomatoes look a little sad. And here's the 4th cushaw that's hiding around the corner from the tomato bed. Now back into the tomato bed. The fruit look really good in this bed over here. This one is just loaded down with fruit that are starting to ripen. The Black Beauty look beautiful. I didn't get any fully purple, but as they are deepening in the sun, they look completely awesome. Can't wait to get a couple of ripe ones from these. And on the straight trellis, I've got my petite yellow, which I'm going to harvest today. And a second good size petite yellow over here. Now the cream of the crop have exploded. I've got about 6 of these as well, just coming through the straight trellis. And a surprise late entrance are the tiger melon. I have about 3 of those. So here's cameraman Dave going to harvest this large giant sunflower head. These grew phenomenally. They're all probably upwards of 7 to 8 feet tall. Pretty cool. And here he is just picking off the sunflower, prepping it for hanging. Now when I hang them, I don't pull off the yellow part. I just let everything dry. This is the one-handed camera skills. Not great. But we're hanging these in the shed to hopefully avoid any vermin from getting into the sunflowers. I don't have many large heads that I want to harvest from. A lot of them I have chosen to let nature enjoy the fruits. I just like the sunflower look. And there it is. See that in a couple of weeks. Hopefully everything will be all dried out. And that's it for the tour outside. This is everything I harvested today. Just another shot, and I really should say everything cameraman Dave harvested. And this is everything in the water. I want to thank you for joining me today again on another harvest. Enjoy and be blessed.